Welcome back to Society Case Files. My name is Robert, and today I want to talk about Black Ops 7, the early access to beta. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Otherwise, we'll dive right in. So I happened to see that this was available just the other day, right after it had come out, and I thought it was supposed to be the early access for the game because I wasn't actually sure when it was coming out. I didn't realize it wasn't coming out until November. The fact that they have early access to the beta just seemed really funny. I'm sure that people have heard a lot of complaints about this game and just guys going off on it for it being, I don't know, a lot different. And the fact that Battlefield 6 owned it, even someone from Activision said that Battlefield 6 was going to win or something. I can't remember that specific exchange. It was kind of out of control. But aside from the fact that what I saw in the trailer for the campaign being totally wackadoo and sort of more like Destiny than Call of Duty, it seemed to me that people were just being salty for almost no reason, especially once I started playing it. It feels exactly like Call of Duty to me. I mean, the motion is a little bit out of control. I've seen some people run on a wall or whatever, but for the most part, it just plays like every other one of these games. And, you know, whether it's shameful to say it or not, I actually kind of had fun. So, I don't know. I don't know why people are so salty about it. Other than the campaign, I totally understand. If that's the reason that people are upset, then they have every right to be, because that is a dramatic departure. It kind of reminds me of when they decided to try and make it a sci-fi game and put you on spaceships and stuff. And while some of those things were cool, like when someone would get blasted and then they'd be floating there in zero G, I could understand a certain amount of frustration from players who are more interested in some grounded, just basic war play stuff. And Call of Duty has kind of shied away from that lately, you know, with some of the skins being completely ridiculous, trying to sort of compete with Fortnite, I'd say. But whatever the case, I still found it to be pretty entertaining. And they offered not only the multiplayer, but they offered some zombies. I guess that when the early access stops, there's going to be some more modes as well, which is cool. I think it's interesting. Something that I read was that it's a sort of misleading headline. It's supposed to probably, it's obviously clickbait, but it also is pretty disingenuous, to be honest. They say cheaters have rampaged over Call of Duty Black Ops 7. And while that is partially true, it has been sort of inviting them in so that the team working on their anti-cheat can figure out how to stop them. And they've made it clear that some matches are going to have more cheaters and some will have less. And it just comes down to the fact that they're trying to figure out how to prevent that from happening as much as possible. And the beta is a perfect time to do it, since there's not that many stakes. You know, you're going to get reset. So no matter how far you get in your double XP weekend, you're going to experience a reset and lose everything anyway. So if there's cheaters, it kind of doesn't matter, I guess. It is still a quote-unquote beta, even though we don't really use beta properly anymore, I don't think. But yeah, I think that it'll be pretty cool, to be honest. And as long as it's included in Game Pass, I will absolutely give it a try when it comes out. I did downgrade from the Ultimate Game Pass, so we'll see what happens there. I should probably talk about that at some point, considering what they decided to do with that. I don't even know what's going on. But, you know, something that dawned on me while I was playing this is sort of my history with playing Call of Duty. And I remember, I think the one that we most got into was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I think that's when we were most engaged. And I remember that I got it for my PC because I wanted to try it with the mouse and keyboard. I'd been playing it on the Xbox. And I could get going. I'd start a match, and then about 2 minutes into it, my computer would actually shut down. And it turned out that the reason for that was not the fact that I didn't have the power to do it with my video card. It was that my power supply itself was too weak. And I had to upgrade my power supply in order to play this game. So it'll go down in infamy for that. And then later, many years later, when I had a much larger crew of folks that I played games with, I remember getting the opportunity on random nights, usually Friday nights, of just throwing out a whole bunch of games with, you know, a full team. That was kind of fun. So I think that Call of Duty does have a kind of special place in my heart over some of the other FPS games just because it has some nostalgia to it. It's been out for so freaking long. So I might be a little bit more forgiving of the way multiplayer works. I haven't really experienced multiplayer in a way that has been just balls out frustrating all the time. More often than not, I'll have a decent match, and then I'll have a terrible match, and I'll have a decent match, and then I'll have a great match. And it's just it's nice because somehow it feels balanced. I was listening to people talk on the chat, and they were just thrilled about the game, and they were talking about how it's kind of frustrating that people are talking it down for particularly no reason when maybe they're just not very good at the game. I'm glad that that's the conclusion they jumped to. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, but it is kind of funny. All around, do I think this will beat Battlefield 6 when it comes out? I think that's going to come down to what people want out of their multiplayer experience. Are they looking for something a little bit more paced, a little bit more realistic? Then they're probably going to go with Battlefield. Are they, on the other hand, more interested in some fast-paced, quick rounds of just total mayhem? Then Call of Duty is going to come out ahead. But I think there's room for both. And while, yeah, it's very normal to compare them, I think it's probably not the most fair comparison anymore. I think they do fit two different niches. And, you know, whether or not people are going to recognize that is up for debate. I think that someone could even want to play both for a very different experience. Of course, that's going to cut into one's ability to be good at both because, frankly, you're going to have to, you know, pick which one you want to really focus on, learn the maps, learn the pacing, how to play with other people. And from what I saw of Battlefield, it really does require you to be more of a team player than Call of Duty, where you could just run around and be a total maniac and not necessarily participate and still contribute. So that's something to consider. You know, what's your play style? Are you going to be playing with friends a lot? Then maybe Battlefield will be the way to go. But if you're going to play alone or you don't have a whole lot of time, like maybe you don't have 2 hours to throw in and you only have like 40 minutes, you could get in 3 good games of Call of Duty that way and walk away. I don't know that you necessarily could with Battlefield because those maps took a lot longer when I was playing them. But I don't want to disparage either one. I think that, like I said, they have an interesting place that will fit for the next year. Whether or not the next Call of Duty is going to be influenced by what Battlefield did this year, I don't know. The guy from Activision made it seem like that was going to be the case, that they would learn from Battlefield 6 and something like that. And that just feels like a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to the way that people were very positive about Battlefield and very negative about the Call of Duty campaign. If they want to do anything, they just need to remember that Call of Duty campaigns are not Destiny, and they don't necessarily need to be having people with superpowers or whatever craziness was going on in that trailer. And they'd probably come out ahead. You know, they just want some tight storytelling, I guess. I haven't played a campaign since Call of Duty. Nope. I was about to lie. I played the space one because I thought that was kind of cool. But beyond that, I haven't really cared about the campaign myself. And I know a lot of people who just dive right into the multiplayer. I seem to remember a long time ago that you had to beat the campaign before you could do multiplayer. I don't know if that was true or not. If someone knows one way or the other, please let me know in the comments, because I'd love to know which game that was, if I'm even remembering correctly. But anyway, I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you tried the beta for Battlefield Black Ops 7? Are you looking forward to this game? Is it something that you have been thinking about? Is it one that you're going to avoid? Let me know in the comments, and we'll talk about it. This is Robert with Society Case Files, signing off.